There's one aspect of my life that I've kept private on YouTube up until now, and I think that it's important to reveal this secret, which is that I wear glasses. And I wear glasses almost all the time because I can't really see very far. Um, I don't actually need them to make a video, which is why I don't wear them. But I can't drive or see good at a distance without the glasses. So that's why I wear them. And I used to wear contact lenses sometimes. But when I started working full time in carpentry, I decided that it was better to wear the glasses because then I didn't have to worry about remembering to use a separate set of safety glasses, even though technically they're not safety glasses. They keep sawdust out of my eyes. So that's why I wear the glasses, which is fine. That's a convenient reason why I do that. However, when governments started demanding that people wear masks all the time, it became very uncomfortable because it would make my glasses fog up. And I didn't want to stop wearing the glasses and switch to contacts because then I would still need to wear safety glasses or risk getting sawdust in my eyes, which is even worse when you have contact lenses in. So I really didn't like wearing masks, and it was for that selfish reason that it was uncomfortable and unenjoyable. But because of that inconvenience, I decided to step back and really take a more critical look at what was happening. First of all, to determine whether it was really effective for me to wear a mask, which I can tell you from operating woodworking tools, if it doesn't protect your nose and mouth from sawdust, it probably doesn't protect you from viruses. But that uncomfortability led me down a path of examining all that was going on in our society, and I shifted my area of focus from just the normal thing, which was, I would listen to audiobooks and things, just mostly novels and things like that while I was working, to more studious subjects. I really dug back into the Bible. I was spending a lot of my time on that. I went down all the conspiracy routes. I was listening to InfoWars quite a bit for a while there. And then I decided, I really needed to focus on my relationship with God, and that was the best solution to what ails the world. So I started listening to the book Loving God by Charles Colson because it was available in the app for my local library. That's my way of picking what I read, is based on what is free. And while I was listening to this book, he recounted a story of this Jewish prisoner in the gulags of Soviet Russia, who, through a series of events, ended up accepting Christ and had a brief interaction with another prisoner with whom he was able to share the gospel. And that prisoner was Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the Gulag Archipelago, and which is why we know what we know about the atrocities of the Soviet regime. And this book was challenging because it had several different stories in it of Christians who were put in the difficult position of choosing to disobey the law of the land in favor of obeying the will of God as they saw it. And one day while I was listening to this, I needed to get something from the store, and after work, on the way home from work, and I was listening to this, and I felt this strong urging that was very much outside of my character as a very observant rule follower, saying to prompt me to go into Home Depot and not to wear a mask while there was still a state or local law in effect. I think it was before the governor lifted the restrictions. And, I was worried about being confronted, and I was a little nervous about it. So, I mean, to be honest, I went into the store very quickly, and I just got the things that I needed. I went to the self-checkout, and then I was gone. And nothing happened. And from then on, there was still several months before they lifted the mandate. I just decided I need to do this because I felt that there were people that were making stands and making protests, but they were doing it because they were angry about the government, and there was just very much an angry message in those who were defiant. And I wanted to show that I was doing this out of obedience to God. And I don't think that it would be obedience for everybody to do what I was doing. That's not what I was saying. But for me, this was what God was asking me to do because of how he wanted me to grow and the development that I needed to make personally. And so I decided that I needed to go in these stores without a mask, but I needed to always be smiling. And if anyone gave me the occasion to speak on why I wasn't wearing a mask, or they decided to confront me, that I would tell them that I was doing it because I believe that the worst damage was the fear that was being caused, and that the mask was a symbol of fear because people were either afraid of the virus, or if they weren't afraid of the virus, they were afraid of confronting and breaking local laws and mandates. And that obedience to Christ means that fear of God must come before all else, and that out of fear of God, love for others takes place. And of course, there's a lot of more complicated issues beyond public health that went into the situation. Especially when I saw the way that some parents were projecting their own fears onto their children. And I worry about the long-term consequences of that. So I decided that I would, make this stand while there was still a restriction to be done, in place. While it was still, could be in a way of an act of defiance, I wanted to make it an act of defiant love. And this was a choice I made for myself personally. I would never tell anybody else what they should or shouldn't do. But it turns out that if you are a man and you have a beard and you walk into a Home Depot as if you know what you're doing and you have every right to be there, people don't want to confront you. So no one ever actually confronted me on it. The people that are getting paid minimum wage to enforce mask rules in retail stores don't really... I don't think it's something they're probably very passionate about. So I never experienced anything beyond that. But it really caused me to consider what I would or would not be willing to do. And it made me very contemplative about these issues. And I think that it's helped me to understand that there is something about the individual. And for some individuals, to defy a law would be sin. For some individuals, to follow a law would be sin. For me, I take comfort in laws and rules because I believe that if the rules are there and in place for good reasons, then to obey them would result in a peaceful existence. And that's something that I, for the most part, enjoy. I'm not a very confrontational person. But I had to constantly put myself in the position of being willing to become a confrontational person, or a person who would at least be confronted by others, in order to feel that I was being obedient towards God. And that, that was a very strange position. But ultimately, it led me to realize that I'm not accountable to anyone but God, and if that's the case, the sin that is most to be avoided is that which Adam did after he ate of the fruit, and God asked him why he did it. He blamed the woman, and in that moment, the right thing for Adam to have done would be to take responsibility for himself. And so that's what I decided that I needed to do. And the next step in doing that was to start a YouTube channel. And I got a rando spot with Paul Vanderklay relatively quickly. And once that was in place, I realized I need to have at least a couple videos ready to go so that people can follow my channel. And so that was a big motivating factor. And this has been a good experience for me to stretch and grow, because I have a lot of opinions, and I think that I do think of things in a different way than other people do. And although I may come to a lot of similar conclusions to other people, I get there through a different route, and I think that that's important to share. And so that's why the next act of obedience for me was to make these videos and get out here and say things and put myself out there, really to take that same risk, to put myself in the position of receiving negative comments and being, there's always a risk in being a public person. And I had been writing a blog for a while, but it was anonymous. And then I decided that if I'm going to be someone who represents Christ, I need to do it as myself. And I need to be honest about who I am and take responsibility for the good and the bad, the things that I say and do that are wise, and for my mistakes. And so, in that regard, complete honesty is to let you know that I am nearsighted and I have to wear glasses every day. And the glassesless face that I present is, in one sense, an illusion. Now, the glasses I have are kind of cheap, and so they have a bad glare if I wore them on the video. So that's another reason why I don't. But I'm glad for the limitation that God gave me in my eyesight, because it's part of the journey that brought me to where I am today. And I guess the next step is that I would like to interact directly with other people more. And so now that I've figured out how to record Zoom calls on my computer, I would very much be open to having discussions with other people. And if you want to email me, my email is mike.sartori. And I already get a whole bunch of spam, and so doesn't really bother me to share that publicly. I have like 37,000 unread emails because I just don't take care of my inbox well. But that's something that I would very much enjoy, talking to people, in real time. I feel like the ideas, I have to put them out in little drips and drops, when really most of this stuff I've been thinking about for a long time, and I would like to cut to the chase. So if anybody wants to talk to me, I'm available for that. And I'm also bad at scheduling things, but I'll try to figure it out if anyone is interested. So thank you for listening.